Daddy. He is about 20 yards away, in the fish shed by the dock. He's slapping the dust out of the croaker sacks for the oyster roast as the tide empties out of the creek behind him, wide ripples of black water shaped like boomerangs hurling toward the sea. I can tell by how quick his bulky arms are moving that he's in a better mood than usual. It's 2 days before Christmas, and tomorrow the whole family, my brother, sister, and cousin, will be home. Family gatherings are one of the few events that make him happy. "I'm off to work, Dad," I say. "Mama says those deer are everywhere," he yells. "Yep," I say. "The last thing I want is another dent in the truck," he says. I nod, and as I step carefully into the pickup, keeping my tennis socks from touching the layer of damp mud that is splayed across the door, he shouts, "DeVeaux?" And I can tell by his tone that he's already irritated. So I roll down the window and say sweetly, "Yes, sir?" He walks toward me, dragging a croaker sack across the yard, his duck boots stamping the dark soil as he dodges the tire swing and shimmies between the tractor and the tool shed. He's gained about 20 pounds since last spring, much of which seems to have attached itself to his neck and cheeks. Now his eyes become two slits when he smiles and when he yells. As he reaches the tea house where the truck is parked, he says, "Did you get the Orangeburg sausage?" "You said you needed it by Christmas Eve," I say. "That's tomorrow, honey," he says. "I'll go first thing," I say. "I don't want to have to ask you again," he says. He turns his back and slaps the sack once. Then he drags it back across the yard and throws it on the picnic table in the fish shed. Daddy's been in a bad mood for most of my adolescence. And you better take cover when that eerie half-grin spreads across his face, because that means he is about to blow. Short tempers run in his side of the family, and sometimes when I get mad, I can feel my own temples pulse. If you ask me what Daddy likes, I'd have to say the sound of the television at a high volume and filling station food. He also loves to take off his pants before supper and walk around in his work shirt and white cotton boxers for the rest of the night. And he is often getting sick with gout in his feet, so he can stay in bed all day with Mama waiting on him. He used to love parties, dances at the Carolina Yacht Club, and oyster roasts on Wadmalaw Island. He was often hosting dinner socials at our home on Trad Street in downtown Charleston, which ended with port cordials in the parlor, where he would tell deer hunting stories, and, if coaxed properly by guests, sing a few Gullah spirituals that Mom Bess, his nanny, taught him during the summers he spent at Rose Hill, a decaying Sea Island cotton plantation that has been in his mama's side of the family since 1810. Then he'd announce, "I ought to move out to Rose Hill and reacquaint myself with my heritage. Feel the pluff mud settle like putty between my toes." Mama would shake her head and mutter, "He's too much of a city boy for that life." Then he'd end with her favorite song, "Fada, lend me your walking shoe." Truth be told, my father filed for bankruptcy 5 months ago. He had been developing a barrier island, Otter, which sits 30 miles south of the Charleston harbor, at the mouth of the North Edisto River. I can see Otter Island from the dock of the little caretaker's house on Rose Hill Plantation, where we now live. Daddy came back to his heritage, but not the way he had imagined it. And occasionally, on a calm day at high tide, my father will drive his john boat out of the creek and into the Intracoastal Waterway, where he'll circle Otter Island, counting the pink flags of the property lines. 27 lots, ranging in value from $350,000 to $1 million, all of which have a 180-degree view of the Intracoastal Waterway or the Atlantic Ocean. He borrowed the money to buy the property from his boyhood friend, Dinks Eddings, a local businessman who had made a small fortune by investing in the development of the Charleston Hotel and other sections of downtown King Street. "I believe this is the big one," he had told my mama and his mama, Meemaw Rose, 2 years ago as he poured 3 glasses of sherry.